got shots fired. It sounded like an automatic firearm.
Copy, code red. Shots fired.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the fairground.
Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to Shots Fired, episode 53. It's your boy, Notorious FDE, with Alex, Dying Death Milberg.
What up?
And the Tactical Beaver over here, Mr. Dave.
What's up?
How you doing? How you guys doing?
A little crazy today.
Yeah, same shit, different day.
Yeah?
A little naughty. A little naughty.
So today we are going to be talking about the recent shooting in, I believe, Boulder, Colorado, wasn't it? A super duper mart?
What the fuck is
Super mart?
King something.
King Super.
King Soup. Yeah.
King Super, I think is the name. We probably should have looked at that.
Is that a Colorado thing?
I've never heard of it, so I'm
like
assuming
in Florida,
so.
you got Piggly Wiggly,
Yeah.
Kroger, if you're in certain parts like Ohio and shit like that.
Publix, I think, is the big one in Florida.
Yeah,
Publix.
Publix is in Florida.
Yeah, so I guess that's their version of that.
Kroger's like the nicer one. They have like a carpet in the middle, and people push your cart for you.
Ooh,
Rich
fancy.
people style.
Here in St. Louis, we have Schnooks and Deerbergs.
We have Schnooks and don't get shot in Deerbergs. Sorry.
That's about it.
So yeah, we were talking about the footage that popped up from the shooting in Boulder, Colorado. What was that? Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday morning, I believe. So, for some bizarre reason, if anybody's under a rock and isn't aware of what happened, initial reports, and we'll get into what actually came out later on. Dude came in to the grocery store. I've heard conflicting reports whether he started shooting in the parking lot on his way in or once he got in. Possibly wearing some sort of armored vest, possibly not. Stripped down to just his shorts was the real odd one.
Yeah, when they apprehended him. Yeah.
Well, I should have saved the article. One of the articles I read, that's why he caught people's notice right off the bat, was he came in just shorts.
So was it just shorts or was it a tack vest then?
And that's the thing, is there's two different reports of what he was wearing.
Yeah, there's lots of conflicting information on what's happened. What we do know is that there's about, 10 people?
Yeah, 10 people killed, 1 police officer, 9 civilians. He came in and just indiscriminately started popping people off.
Yeah, and some of the other, just really strange things that we noticed about this is how calm everybody is.
Yeah,
docile, almost.
In all the interviews, people were relatively chill, I noticed.
Yeah.
Dave found a video, and we're going to play the audio here in a sec, but not the video. We refuse to show, any bodies or anything, right, even though they're blurred out. It's not classy. That's just tasteless to do.
It's not cash money.
No,
Yeah,
but
definitely not cash money.
The whole thing is weird. Like, one thing, Dave, you want to talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the video they won't be able to see because the audio is important, but also what people are doing is very odd.
And you guys just go ahead and let me know when you want me to start the video.
Yeah.
So we'll walk through the video, but just to set this up for everybody, as we're looking at this, we're looking at this through several different lenses.
Yeah.
So we're looking at it first and foremost. It's hard to not, and somebody corrected me earlier to not kind of. I said, well, why is this? Why is that? And they said, well, you're thinking tactically. You're thinking what you would do in that situation. That's true. But I try to think of what I teach people as well. If they're in this kind of situation, what would they do? And how they should react. And one of the things that we found is that nothing really lines up. So maybe we'll take a look and see and watch the video, listen to the audio, because the video part doesn't make much difference. But the audio does, and I'll kind of explain what's going on while it happens.
Yeah, and if you guys want to talk about, if you're interested in what the video is, it is basically a bunch of people just milling around. It looks like a normal Tuesday while this guy just shoots a live video. And then all of a sudden you hear gunshots, and nobody runs.
And we'll play it here in a sec, but the few things that stand out in the video that the audio doesn't show, the audio will show a lot. But the things in the video, and you can find it for yourself if you really want to see it. We just don't want to share that. We're not in for sensationalism or anything. But this really, the more I think about it, the more it bugs me too. The guy is randomly just live streaming the whole thing, showing the bodies in the parking lot. Whether they ran out and collapsed out or were shot in the parking lot, I'm not sure, and I haven't heard. But the dude's very calm. He's warning people, but it's not what you'd expect from someone. And first he questions if there's an active shooter. then says there is.
Sure. Yeah.
Then he asks about it, and the guy, almost like he forgot his line. Oh yeah, he went this way.
Yeah.
And they peek in and walk in a few feet into the entrance, and first off, this guy he asks, this older gentleman, probably 60s or 70s, is just standing there by the entrance
On his cell phone.
With his back to the entrance where the shooter did a lot of the shooting. You can see bodies when he peeks inside, and then shots go off, but he's standing there just playing on his phone, and there's the guy filming, one other random guy standing there. But I find it very odd that here there is still an ongoing active shooter inside what doesn't seem to be. This isn't a Walmart supercenter.
No.
This is more like a smaller grocery store.
Size of your Schnucks or your Deerbergs or whatever, yeah.
And they're just standing there with their back to the entrance, milling around the entrance where an active shooter is.
Right.
You would find us, well, hopefully running to our car to go grab something to go back with.
Yeah.
But I would think the average person, you would find them a couple parking lots away.
Perhaps ducking.
Yeah, getting the
Maybe
fuck out.
getting low.
But with your back towards where the shooting's coming from, messing with your phone?
Casually.
Yeah, fuck him. He was old. He probably was like, today's a day.
And being calm. Like, everybody was abnormally calm for
Well,
an
that's because
active
it was
shooter.
probably like bullshit.
I'm sick of sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but fuck, dude. Some of this shit just... I mean, we called this months ago that, Biden's getting in, so we'll give it till about March or April before the active shooting starts.
So, and that's one of the things that we were talking about just a little bit. We didn't have much time to prep for this, but we were talking about is that I don't want to come across as a conspiracy theorist because none of us are like that. We're very pragmatic. We're very matter of fact. But at the same time, some things just don't add up. So we're not jumping to there right yet and saying that this is the case because obviously, if lives have been lost, lives have been lost. Families are going to have, be upset, have issues and stuff like that. We want to go through some of the things that could and should happen in those situations. But some of this just doesn't line up and some of the timing is a little too convenient. So,
and I mean, the fact that a week ago is when the current administration started announcing that gun control was up, and then 2 mass active shooters in a 2-week period.
Yeah,
right after that. I mean, the timing's just a little odd. We haven't had an active shooter in years.
Well, we haven't had one hit the news publicly in a while.
I mean, it's been a year, maybe 2. And if somebody wants to comment with when the last major one was or something to refresh our memory, that helps.
Fuck around and find out.
But it's kind of odd how
it would be Kenosha, maybe.
Was
Kyle considered an active shooter?
I don't think so. Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah, not all heroes wear capes. Anyway, moving on. You guys want to talk? You guys want to start playing the video?
Yeah, let's watch the video.
We'll narrate through the video.
All right.
Play the audio with the video.
So we'll
play
talk
the video,
you through
Clark. All right, here we go.
Need 911 here now. We're at King Soopers in South Boulder.
King
Table
Soopers.
Mesa. We've got injured parties on the ground.
So at this point, you can see
now, people.
The first body you see is the one that's out in the parking lot, and it appears to be facing towards the store as if the person fell heading towards the store.
Yeah.
So we see that.
And then he pans to the inside.
Shooter somewhere.
Yeah, and there's 2 people just standing here.
Could be in the store.
Not even trying to get out of the doorway. Literally standing in front of the sensor that we keep the door open.
Literally, did you see that? The old fart? Here, let me play this. Did you see that? Here, you guys of course can't see it on the podcast, and we're not showing you the video. But the old fart that we've been talking about, wearing the black jacket, bright orange liner with his mask, farting on his phone.
Be in the store? Yeah, one in there.
There's one in there.
The guy looks at him and he goes, "Is the active shooter in the store?" The guy takes a hot minute, looks up and goes, "Oh yeah, there's one in there."
Yeah.
While there's a body, 15 feet behind him?
Bro, how desensitized? I mean, I would think that we're pretty desensitized to gunfire. Maybe some of us might be dead bodies. We're pretty desensitized.
That would still shock the fuck. Oh, fuck. Okay, wow.
But if I walked into a store, I heard a gunshot, and I see there's a fucking dude cleaned out on the floor, which is what he's about to show.
I'm not going to sit there texting on my phone.
I'm not going to be playing Flappy Bird.
No.
Right.
Here,
right.
And I'll hit replay again.
He went in the store. Right down there. Oh my God.
So the gentleman points to the inside of the store and says, oh, he went right down there. But yet still holds his positioning. He's just still standing right there at the entrance in the breezeway or the foyer, if you will.
There's your first gunshot. There's your second.
And again, okay, I didn't even pay attention to this before. The gunshots go off. He just backs out a little bit, but still hangs out.
Yeah.
Dude, he
he's
doesn't
not
even
going yet.
flinch.
I don't run, and you would see me run.
Yeah.
Right. Now
Like, normal people run. You at least want to get to cover, even if you're going to do something, get to cover until you can assess the situation and figure out what you're going to do. But he still just chills out front. Like,
so
that goes against literally everything in human nature. He doesn't choose to fight or flight, and he doesn't freeze up. He just stands there.
So the other thing that Chris actually kind of started to bring up is he doesn't have that parasympathetic response that most people are going to have in a fight or flight moment, where even if you're holding your cell phone and you hear, I mean, if most people are recording something and they hear a car backfire, you're going to see that jump a little
Or
bit.
your hands are shaking.
Yeah, I mean,
or
he's straight up. He's
your
just standing
adrenaline
there
dumping.
and pow, pow. Again, not saying that this wasn't a true event, not saying this didn't happen,
really
but
fucking weird, though.
saying it like he's expecting it.
Yeah, this guy has to be one of the most cold-blooded motherfuckers that I've ever seen.
In which case, he would have been very helpful.
Yeah.
In this situation, possibly, but
Had he been doing something other than live streaming bodies.
right, live streaming probably doesn't help us at this
And
point.
you pointed this out. Again, he's live streaming it. He's acting rather calm. Goes in and is maybe 10 feet away from a body. Makes no attempt to help out, check the body, drag the body out. It would not have taken anything. You can't see the shooter. It wouldn't have taken anything to dash in a few steps, grab a hand, and yank that body out of there.
Right, just grab a collar and just rip
something,
and just see, because you don't know, that person was not moving. One of the other things that really stuck out to me was the lack of chaos. Now, again, devil's advocate.
What do you mean by that?
So when I say the lack of chaos, in most shooting instances, when you watch video of, say, the Westport or Westbridge or whatever mall shooting in Kenya, you see video of the Church of Texas. You see bodies scrambling. You hear screaming. At no point do I hear, is there no one injured? Are those people not in pain? Typically, even in a situation where you're not sure what's going on, maybe you're trying to be quiet, most people don't have that in them. So if you just took a round to the hip or you took a round to the knee, you're probably going to be writhing. And yet,
you're not going to be able to just eat that pain.
Right, and just suck it up. But yet, it's completely silent. It's completely silent other than, oh, he's over here, and pow, pow. And those shots were rather, maybe those were anchoring shots later. I have no idea. But I would think that I would see more bodies moving, more scattering of people. I would also think that I would hear more.
And it's a full parking lot. For those of you that have seen the video, it's not like a slow day at the supermarket. The parking lot's jammed. This would be one of the days that you'd probably have to go to the very back to find a parking spot with your nice truck, so you had a gap, because you don't want some asshole parking next to you and door dinging you. But it's one of those days. So like, there's nobody running around either. There's nobody even laying really on the floor inside that's not dead. No, there's nobody low, and there's nobody like scurrying for cover.
I will say, in some of the interviews, I sat down and watched a couple interviews on YouTube of people who were there. It sounds like employees were directing a lot of people to escape out of the back, out of the loading docks.
Which they did good on them,
yeah, and good on the employees for doing that.
Out through the butcher shop area.
So you would assume a lot would be able to, but there would still be some who'd, you freeze, you take cover behind whatever you can, you're hiding in the aisles. And I mean, you see a decent amount of inside the grocery store, and it's empty.
And
it's just very odd.
I think since we're kind of on the topic of, just the oddities of it, I say we, let's hit some more of those right now. But then how about once we do that, let's take a look at what things could or should have been done in this situation. Because
we can use this as a teaching moment.
Right. And that's something that I look at as somebody who is an instructor. Like, I look at, all right, what would you do? How would I coach this? How would I teach this? What would happen in that moment? But again, even if most of the people did go out the back, somewhere there's people.
Yeah.
one of the things that bothers me as well is that, not to mention how calm and cool collected the guy is. Oh, all right, guys, I'm going to go. Two things. One is the entire time he's talking to an audience. I'm not sure if this was a live stream. I'm not sure if this was just he pulls out his phone and he starts recording. But he knows 100% that he is talking to an audience. Yeah. So it kind of bothers me that it's not just like oh shit, I'm running for cover, I'm doing this, I'm that. It's, hey guys, I'm still here, and yeah guys, I mean, he sounds like he sounds like he's straight up vlogging this thing.
Yeah.
Not somebody who's
like
pinned down and like trying to say their goodbyes to family and friends, but somebody who's documenting what's occurring.
If anybody's wondering what we're talking about, just look at this video versus any of the videos that came out from Mandalay Bay. People were fucking losing their minds.
Right. Yeah. Right. It was total chaos, So there was no chaos in this. Two other things that bother me on that is that when we hear this audio, the gentleman goes, all right, well, I'm getting ready to go. And he goes out and he leaves. Now, he does look like he kind of crouches past the first set of windows. Then he jumps up. And there's someone that's coming to attend to that very first body that we see. And it looks like somebody, you see that car stop, kind of pull up, start to walk to them. And he yells at them and says, hey, get away, get away. It's an active shooter inside. Get away. He didn't say that to the people that were inside.
No.
The guys that were standing shoulder to shoulder with him inside the building where the gunfire's happening, he didn't say that. But the person that's going to go render aid to this fallen person
in the parking lot,
who's 30, 40 meters away, whatever, that person, he's telling to get away.
And then a car pulls up and he doesn't even, I would be pounding on the window, get the fuck out of here, help me out, stopping people, something.
And the entire time he's traversing the building parallel to the windows. So he's walking by. If you know that the shooter is contained within that building, the last place I'm probably going to want to be is hanging out at the building if I'm not trying to affect the situation.
Yeah, where you can look down the aisles. No, I'm sorry, I talked over, but where you can look down the aisles and see out front.
Yeah,
you could tell.
And if somebody was in an aisle, it would be a very simple shot right through the window to go, why is this guy hanging out here?
Yeah.
So not where you want to be, but yet that's where our guy is.
And not just, well, he's a clueless civilian who has no, it goes past that to against human nature.
Sure.
I mean, it's past not knowing any better to the point of doing the opposite of what you would normally react to.
Yeah, his fight or flight response really didn't kick in. It was just hey guys, I'm here, It reminded me of that here in my garage guy, like just here making a video. Like, it just didn't make sense to me, but I don't know.
So there's a lot going on attached to this. So what do we know? Well, at first, they didn't really have an idea. They didn't have a motive. They didn't have a name. They had nothing. There was glimpses and video cuts of helicopter footage of what looked to be a white dude with his shirt off, possibly shot in the leg, blood all over his leg, getting let out by cops.
Little limp, not much.
Yeah.
A little bit of a limp.
So, shortly, I think this was yesterday morning that happened. And then already this morning, Biden comes out, does a speech, and is already talking about telling the Senate now is the time to act, close the loopholes, universal background checks, and we need to ban assault rifles. And
really to put a pin in that, he also said that he made a big point to throw out that this was all while flags were still at half mast for the
racially
motivated shooting of Asians,
massage
parlors, which we haven't done a shots fired on that, but white dude comes in and shoots massage parlors.
Yeah, and his reason on that, not to get off topic, but his reasoning was supposedly something to do with, he spent all his money at the massage parlor and now he's broke, and so he's upset about it. So he decides to go cap the people that took all his money. So
you can't stop crazy. It doesn't matter what legislation you do.
I think he was mad about his beard. His beard looked like shit.
It was pretty weak.
Yeah. So funny enough, when they did release information, the media's not exactly thrilled with their twist they were hoping to put on it. Is going to be a little bit hindered.
Some M. Night Shyamalan shit right here.
The dude is not named like Steve or Mike or anything. It's
Paul Smith.
Ahmed Alyssa, I don't know. And he's a recent immigrant, 2002, from Syria.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. And now more has come out that apparently he's a little crazy. This is from the Denver Post. Boulder shooter suspect was short-tempered, violent, former teammates say. And then it goes on through former teammates. What did he do? Wrestling. That he was scary to be around. He would throw tantrums if he was beaten in a wrestling match. Very violent, very aggressive. Didn't have many friends. And extremely paranoid. They never have anything or have said anything about any hate crime against him or getting harassed for being Muslim, but that he was always extra aggressive because he was expecting people to harass him from being Muslim and was constantly paranoid that he was being followed, that people were going to threaten him, that people were looking into him and investigating him, and was always talking about how he was being watched or followed. And you combine that, somebody who's paranoid, somebody who's very violent, sounds like either an extremist who was worried he was going to be caught, that he's an extremist, or somebody who's batshit crazy.
And I mean, let's kind of outline what this guy looked like.
Well, so
He didn't look like a 21-year-old guy either.
No, the dude looked rough as
He
fuck.
looked like he was on the upper end of 40. He had a bald spot.
Yeah.
And like he had the cul-de-sac going
man.
on. Yeah, I'm sorry.
right.
I
We
love
resemble
I
that.
love my mohawk, but
But Chris, real quick to jump in on that is that one of the things about that, if one of the narratives could be, oh well, maybe there was worry that he was going to be bullied or persecuted for his ethnicity or background or religious beliefs, like Colorado, especially the bigger cities like Denver and Boulder, are
pretty fucking
really
liberal.
progressive,
They're
really
pretty
liberal.
chill. Yeah.
Right, and so that's
It's a bunch of pot smoking hippies.
I said, bro, I think
Right.
about weed there, man.
Right. I mean, so, you know, you had a lot of people who were from Portland, who were from California that moved there when the whole marijuana thing kind of happened. And so it has more of that vibe of an Austin, Texas, or of a, or of a Portland, Oregon.
maybe that's why everybody was so chilled out. They were all fucking stoned.
That
They
could
might have
be
been
actually-
doing
They
the
were
pots.
all stoned. They were doing the pots.
Yeah.
Could have been happening. Hard to say.
We're at the grocery store.
Oh, that is not funny. Don't laugh at that. That's bad.
So, furthermore, leave it to CNN. Gotta love those cocksuckers. They're still trying to find a way to blame white males for this. Even though, race has nothing to do with this. The guy's Arab. Doesn't automatically mean he's a terrorist.
Right.
But you can't deny the fact that that has to be looked into. Because they're not exactly our biggest fans.
No.
Because we may have had a few wars in that area.
Yeah.
And he is Syrian, which we have kind of bombed the shit out of recently.
Good point.
But here we go with CNN trying to figure out motives. And first off, they make sure they put in the first couple paragraphs that it was an AR-15 style pistol modified with an arm brace.
Ooh.
So be prepared for that one.
High large caliber pistol ban incoming.
The warrant described him as being armed with either an assault rifle or black AR-15 and wearing a tactical or armored vest. So be prepared for them to go after that. The suspect had removed all of his clothing and was dressed only in shorts when he was taken into custody. Not sure what's up with that.
Never gonna catch me.
Law enforcement databases did say that he had purchased a Ruger AR-556 pistol on March 16th. He spent most of his lives in the United States. Like I said, he immigrated here 2002. Let's see. He had become increasingly paranoid. They say he had possibly been bullied. And how he was always paranoid someone's watching.
21-year-old from Syria. I mean, he might have been right on that.
Someone's chasing me, someone's investigating me, and his friends and brother would constantly have to reassure him that he's not. He was worried that someone was hacking his phone, apparently. He wrote March 18th of 2019 on Facebook.
So this could be a case of just pure psychosis as well.
Was he on any kind of medication?
Yeah, SSRIs.
I mean,
they might not know that yet.
Sid Glockenkolt's big thing is, how many of these guys that end up to be, mass shooters or active shooters are on a lot, usually of behavior modification, prescription medicine.
Yeah, those SSRIs, those are your lithium, Wellbutrin, Pristiques, those medications that are not just, hey, I'm feeling a little down today. It's this is every day. You need to take this.
Yeah. And I mean, not that we're saying that, if you're on those, you're going to be a mass shooter. No.
Right.
We're just saying that it seems to be that a lot of the guys that are.
Well, those and that can be a later conversation, but those types of medications do definitely affect your psyche and personality, and anybody who's been on those or knows somebody who's been on those knows that affects people in a different way. Mm-hmm. You are a different person sometimes when you're on those types of things. So it could be that he was, radicalized in some way. It could be that he's just psychotic. It could be that he was on drugs.
Maybe he's just an asshole.
He could just be an asshole.
Sometimes people look too deep into it and forget that there's just shitty fucking people out there who are dicks.
Evil. Yeah. So one of the other things that I wanted to bring up that we haven't talked about quite yet was the gentleman that was being interviewed. I think it was CNN who was talking about the COVID vaccine.
Yes.
Can you give me you want me to talk about it, or you want to?
Did you find that video again?
Yeah, I couldn't find it again.
I couldn't either.
But
the guy straight up said it.
I know where it is.
See if you can find it while you're looking for that. Basically, in this interview, the guy states how he was just there with his family to all get COVID-19 vaccinations together, and then this guy started opening fire. And in the middle of describing what he did and how his family reacted, he then goes into a almost scripted sounding tirade for why is now the time to pass gun control. Like transitioned into
little too
it.
Good.
Yeah, he transitioned into it so well that it was a bit suspicious.
Yeah. Well, so that's one of the things while Chris pulls that up that we've all talked about is that. And we said and joked about it. Again, no disrespect and no downplaying anything that's happened. But we joked. We're like, all right, well, it's only a matter of time till the next Parkland event, till the next Sandy Hook event.
It is ironic that this seems to increasingly happen more and more during Democratic presidents and around the time they want to push gun control.
So I've got something that that might tie in a little bit to that, but I can bring it up later. But so immediately Biden comes on and he even says, I don't need to know what the shooter's intention was. I don't need to know why. We don't know any of that yet, but it doesn't matter. But I can already tell you off the break, we need gun control, or what they call common sense gun control, or something of that nature. And then the Senate started talking about it. The House has already passed a couple bills. And so Chuck Schumer, I think, said, hey, we're going to start looking at some of those. But I saw a quote, and I found a quote that it disturbed me a little bit, that Dick Durbin, senator, said that his quote said that we're numb to the numbers unless we are personally touched. It's not just otherwise it's just another statistic. Excuse me. So we're numb to the numbers unless we are personally touched. It's just another statistic. He said, I hope we will open a conversation about constitutional, common sense ways to reduce gun violence in America. There's a couple things I was going to unpack in that. One is the first part of that. Does this quote sound anywhere familiar to anybody else? We're numb to the numbers unless we're personally touched.
Yeah, but I can't think of where.
All right, so there's a historical reference to that. Stalin, Joseph Stalin, known for being the swellest, nicest guy in the world.
Of course, very,
killing
huge philanthropist,
millions and millions of his own people. His quote, famous quote, was, "The death of one is a tragedy, 1 million is a statistic." So, and that's very true. When you hear that, hey, 50 people died in a tsunami or 100 people died in an earthquake,
doesn't mean anything.
Oh, it's sad.
Yeah.
But when you know that, hey, Sarah Joe, 16-year-old from this town, died as a result of a drunk driver, you all of a sudden have a different feeling about that. And so that's one of the things that kind of just took my spidey senses a little bit and kicked that up. But what really also bothered me is he said, a conversation about constitutional common sense ways to reduce gun violence in America. So he's not just saying, hey, we need to put some sort of a little law in place. No, we need to amend the Constitution. We need to add things that will be as secure as something that's in the Constitution. And that's scary.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we get so focused on the thing at hand. We want to focus on fixing that we don't realize why maybe they want us to think about that, So why would we want to think about that? What's the consequences? Oh, guns are bad. Guns hurt people. We should get rid of those right now.
Yeah.
But why do you not want me to have guns, Mr. Senator?
Yeah, there's a reason they wait till something like this happens before they push gun control. Notice they're not just randomly out of nowhere. We know it's been a year since there's been a mass shooting, but the last guy never did anything about this, and we decided now it's time.
Right.
No, they don't do that
because they don't get support then.
Yeah.
But all those people and you're always going to have your 40% that are, hey, I'm so pro gun, I don't care, what it is. And then you got your 40% they're going to be, I hate guns so much that, they should all be banned anyway. But it's that 20% in the middle that really sways the vote. And so they use times like this to really influence that 20% of those people that are going to say, hey, oh, I was all for letting you guys have your guns, but now
you can have a handgun, but why do you need one of those assault rifles to defend yourself?
Right, them scary ones.
All right, so I got the video. I got the video up for you guys. It took me a second to find it. The best one that I could find was 9mm SMGs on Instagrams. So we can pull it up here because it doesn't actually show any bodies or anything. But I want you guys to watch this because it is
weird.
It is fucking creepy. Let me make sure I got all.
No, did you get almost uncomfortable watching it?
Yeah, cringe.
Yeah,
cringy. All right, so here we go.
Some very good news, but can you tell me about why you're here and why you're outside?
I got the call from my daughter that my grandchildren and my son-in-law walked into the pharmacy for him to get a COVID-19 shot, and the shooter came.
That's so weird. All right, hold on real quick. I think. Oh no, we don't want to see the rest of your feed.
Just got some very good news, but can you tell me about why you're here and why you're outside?
I got the call from my daughter that my grandchildren and my son-in-law walked into the pharmacy for him to get a COVID-19 shot, and the shooter came.
So it goes in to say that the shooter came through. I'm looking for the rest of them. Why? That's weird. I thought we had the full one earlier. Because we even watched it together. That's weird. Anyway, so apparently that's all we got of that one. But the guy said, my family came in to get the COVID-19 shot, and the shooting was happening. Then all of a sudden, he kind of laughs and chuckles in the middle of the interview.
Yeah. Which
is weird, and it's unnerving.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this.
And you could see from that just kind of how he was talking about what was going on. And it was almost like he was going down a checklist. So the quote unquote stormtroopers, he called the police stormtroopers, came in through the roof, grabbed everybody, because that was never talked about in the news, the cops coming in and grabbing people. But the stormtroopers kicked in the roof, came through, and he thought that it was just a really good time to look at gun bans now.
Out of nowhere.
And it was the weirdest kind of phrasing you could ever say.
Wording, the way he worded it, the timing of it, and how the whole thing flowed was just really odd.
Now, I've not seen this yet, so I've not seen the full clip, so I still need to watch that.
Magazine.
Excuse me. So one thing I notice about it right off the bat is that most people, when they're in a traumatic situation, they can't tell you details. So what happens is...
Well, here's the thing I just realized upon watching this for the fourth time in a row of him start. He wasn't there. If you listen to what he's saying, he wasn't there. He just got the call from a family member who was there. He wasn't even in there.
Oh, I thought he was saying that he got the call to come do the shot.
And Chris, I could be wrong, but I'm taking it. Play that beginning again if you can, because he goes in and describes it.
I'm looking to see if
it sounds like he wasn't there.
I'm looking to see if I can find the better
the
one.
full one.
Yeah.
So, but one of the things that just from that little quick insert, that 15 seconds or whatever it is. So when somebody goes through a traumatic situation, if you ask somebody who's been in a car wreck, you ask somebody who's been in a violent situation, most people, the way that their body works is that they don't, everything kind of goes towards what's necessary. So they lose all detail. They lose, I can't tell you what color the shirt was. I can't tell you this. But when you listen to him, he's very specific. We didn't just come to the store to get the shot. We went to the pharmacy in the store. This is what happened. Here's all the details. Those are details that most people can't recall days later. You know, all of a sudden, a day later, a week later, things are popping back up. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, this happened. This happened. Most people, it's just, I heard bang, 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 wasn't sure what anything was. We ran out the back.
Yeah.
That's not what he said.
So, I'm not finding this guy. They have a lot of other people that have been interviewed, but
His is,
what's he on?
I don't, dude. There's like
Grandfather recalls waiting as his family hid in a closet during Boulder shooting. Is this,
Upon hearing about that shooting, Stephen McHugh rushed to that supermarket.
this is him.
Because his two granddaughters
That's him.
and son-in-law, Paul. We're inside, hiding in a closet, and Stephen joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Stephen. First of all, just how is your son-in-law doing? How are your granddaughters doing this morning?
Everybody's glad to be alive, and the shock of it is still fresh.
I understand Paul was actually inside that supermarket to get his COVID vaccine with your granddaughters.
Over there.
I understand.
You know, that's what happens.
And that's not our audience.
Audio either. That's their audio.
Megan and Paul kept texting. There was this text chain that was going on throughout all of this.
Yeah.
What were they saying in those texts, Stephen?
So he wasn't there.
No.
Well, just how terrifying this was. You know, Paul was in there for his COVID shot, and they were going to go food shopping. And he was the third person in line, he said, when the gunshot started, and the woman who was in the front of that line went down, was shot, and they ducked down and hid amongst like some items that are there, and then Paul very smartly took the two girls upstairs. There was stairs nearby, and there was a staff area, and they went and hid in the coat closet for 45 minutes while all the shooting was going on downstairs, and they were texting Megan from inside the closet, standing among the coats, hiding.
And your granddaughters are just 13 and 14 years old, right? 7th
and 8th grade, yeah. And, you know, nobody should be subjected to anything like this ever, of course. And they were in the closet, and Paul's texting, don't call, we don't want any phones to ring, and bring more. You know, the action was down below where they were staying. And they had... other people came up the stairs, and every time that happened, they're not sure if that was a shooter coming up the stairs, and they're texting back and forth with Megan, who's, you know, literally in shock and trying to keep it together. And so
yeah, look down at your notes, bud. Read the notes, Grandpa.
The girls had been nearby the pharmacy when Paul was in line. So they heard the shots, and they were on the phone with their other grandmother and heard 8 shots, she said. And then, you know, Paul talked about maybe 50 or 60 shots altogether during the hour or so that this went on before the SWAT team came up. And once we knew, you know, I couldn't get in. Once we knew the SWAT team was in there, and there were maybe 20 people, the others working in the store, they just hid until they were felt safe, and then they were eventually let out through the back, through a circuitous route, so that they wouldn't have to go by any of the dead bodies. So
Stephen, I
didn't have to see that.
I understand that you were able to pick him up from the police station. I would imagine that had to have been quite the hug.
It was incredible. We had a group hug right in the lobby of the police station. Then, when I brought them home, because Paul's car was part of the crime scene, still at the parking lot, and they were really hungry, and because they hadn't been able to shop. And they said, we're not going to the grocery store. We're going to order in, And
Okay, well, thank you.
Would you ever,
See now,
if
Grandma.
you were in that timeout, if you were in that situation and this man is thanking God and just that his grandkids made it.
This dude is so full of shit.
But hang on, I'm just saying, would you ever be like, oh, guess we're not gonna go to the grocery store, whore.
Nope.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
Nope.
I'm gonna go. I'll go on.
You would
dude.
never.
I think you're full of shit. First off, I think you're full of shit. I'm gonna call you out because none of your shit lines up. Your story doesn't line up.
We said to stay off the phone, don't get on the phone, and then they were on the phone with the grandma.
And you guys are texting, and grandma's calling. Dude, you're full of shit. Come on, get off the fucking news and stop pushing your bullshit rhetoric. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Oh, we got angry there.
Sorry.
It's also weird that the guy who wasn't even there.
Yeah, you weren't
is
even
the one
fucking there, dude.
Being interviewed.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, so that's very different to me. Like, why would there's no one else that was there that they want to interview? Why is this the guy? That doesn't make sense to me. Again,
Yeah.
Well, it's because he's
we're
old
not-
and he tells the best story.
well, and
He's been watching
and
fucking
let's
Jim
and let's be
Henson's
clear.
Storyteller.
I don't know, at least from my perspective. I'm not saying that he's necessarily like a crisis actor that was put there to propel the whole thing that happened or didn't happen.
Another odd instance.
But it is
though.
just weird to me that like here they find this guy and he has a narrative and he has a story, and again some of the details are just,
I'm not saying
He's not the old man.
I'm not saying he's a crisis actor. I'm saying he's probably on George Soros's payroll.
He
That's
said
all.
he showed up.
He showed up.
He's not the guy live streaming it, you think, is?
no, the voices are different.
The voices are different. Yeah.
Yeah, the voices,
I'm not
the voices are different.
I'm not a real, Sherlock Holmes, but it's a different guy.
Yeah.
That guy doesn't look like he could operate a cell phone.
Well, clearly he did. He had his AirPods in too. So.
Thank God.
Yeah, so there's too many things in that again, details remembered certain ways. I don't like the fact that and maybe it was our system that did it, but that the audio dropped. Did he say
that was
something
kinda
that
weird.
they didn't want? And then here's what I don't like: whether this situation had any sort of any sort of negative adjustment, if anything was affected by anybody else, whether it did or didn't. It's the fact that the moment the instance happened, now everybody went on red alert and scrambled to say, how can we now use this? This is our thing. How do we use this? We need a grandpa that says, had only there not been guns, my granddaughters might not have had to see this. And then we get these other people that, are saying, oh, hey, this guy shot 100 rounds. Had he not had this AR-15 or had he not had this or that?
I think we need to look up this guy's grandkids and make sure that they were eligible for the COVID shot. I want to make sure that their parents were eligible for the COVID shot. Because if none of that shit checks out, then this guy's a fucking crisis actor. He's bullshit. He's full of shit.
Could be.
I mean, I don't know. I wasn't even there. I was getting text messages. Okay.
The thing that I don't like is that that he's also fairly devoid of emotion.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I said.
And I don't have kids. Like you have kids. Like some people have kids. I don't have kids. But I can tell you that if my nieces had just been out, like,
would you be talking about that the next day?
Well, for one, I would have gotten the call and been told to get there, and so two, then I would not have been like, oh well, they told me let's not go to McDonald's. I'd be like, they're safe. That's what matters. They're safe.
First of all, especially these days, I would honestly tell the media to go suck a dick.
Right.
Within 24 hours of this happening, hey, we heard you had family with her. Yeah, fuck off and die. Like, I'm not going to talk to the fucking media so they can turn this into an agenda for anyone. I'm not going to be used like that.
Well,
I'm not going to talk.
He wanted the pedestal. You could tell. I mean, he covered all the bases there, which is shame on you, sir.
But the common thing we keep seeing with, and that's number 5 interviewed I've seen, not a single, and some of them are the day of, not a single bit of emotion.
Everybody in Colorado's high.
Without going into too much detail, the first thing I'll say is I've seen some fucked up shit before. I've seen some really bad shit. Even being a hard infantry marine and being adjusted to that, you never truly get over that and become quite numb to it. You'll be numb at the time, but that shit fucks with you later on, and it's still disturbing to see. I don't care how tough you are. You see a dead woman, a dead kid laying in a grocery store. Especially, I can only imagine when it's done in surroundings it's not expected.
Yeah.
When you're in a combat zone and you see a dead body, you get a little used to it because you're like, it's a fucking combat zone. This shit's going to happen.
People die in war. Yeah.
Now, you see someone other than the enemy, fucks you up a little bit. But I can only imagine being in a fucking grocery store where you're supposed to go as a family to go take care and feed your family is seeing that. I'm not going to be calmly talking to the news 3 hours later. Yeah, I was in there, I was grocery shopping, and watched a bunch of people get schwacked in front of me. Other than that, it was a pretty good shopping experience.
Right, yeah. There's
5 stars on Yelp.
So, to piggyback on
we
that.
got 13 minutes left, guys, just letting you know.
Oh, shit, sorry. All right, so to piggyback on that real quick, though, also, if these interviews are happening within a couple hours after, anybody who's been in those situations knows that during that situation, your body, to help you survive, will dump chemicals into your brain, adrenaline, things of that nature.
You'll struggle when they ask you what's your name to remember what your own name is.
To help you go. Yep. But afterwards, that shit dumps.
Yep.
And most people will have a response of sometimes violently ill, sometimes immediately narcoleptically type sleepy.
Yeah, sleepy.
To have the inability to answer questions and things like that. And so it really jacks with people.
I'm not gonna lie, my first time, you're pumped at first, and I mean just like pacing back and forth. I chain smoked 2 packs of cigarettes. I couldn't stop shaking like this, and then out of nowhere, I violently threw up, and then became starving hungry.
Sure.
All within a 30-minute time period.
Sure. And that was after things had calmed.
I want to say it actually, I was better immediately thereafter. And I'd say within about 30 or 40 minutes when it finally dawns upon you what happened is when it hits you. And it's usually the next day you're kind of back to normal and everything. But it takes a while. You're still pretty fucking amped up.
Right.
And usually the throwing up, a lot of it is that mass adrenaline dump and all that's leaving your body. Yeah. It physically makes you sick.
Yeah, it wears you out.
Well,
it's exhausting.
Your muscles being tense in order to have that quick flight, the ability to fight and run, all that lactic acid that gets dumped in there for the ability to have that all starts settling, and then that just, you feel like you just ran a marathon.
He didn't have that, though, because he wasn't there. The old guy.
Right, the old guy.
Yeah. But he was just texting. That's fine.
So one of the things I was more interested in, and maybe we should skip over it depending on time, what you guys want, but was what like people should have done, because one of the things that bothered me. So there's something else I'm going to bring up.
So we got 10 minutes.
Okay.
So
can we do a part 2 of this too?
We can do a part 2 of this, but in this 10 minutes, let's get something that we can end it on. So if you want to do something that you should have done,
I'd say end with that.
Yeah.
All right. So we can do that, but there is something that I want to bring up that nobody's talked about yet, and maybe it is because shameless plug, being at Tactical Shit, that we do now sell firearms in our FFL department. So Colorado has
Dave is in that department.
That might be me. Yeah. So Colorado is one of the states that has a magazine ban.
Yeah.
So Colorado has a magazine limit. One of the things I've heard in some of the videos is, it was a consistent 30 rounds, 50 rounds. Anything over a 15-round mag is illegal there anyway.
Yep.
And any shotgun that holds more than 26 inches.
That's why Magpul moved.
Exactly. As I said, Magpul, I still own some of the old. That's how old I am. I got some of the old gangster Colorado mags, but that's one of the reasons that they moved. They pulled out because they couldn't support that state. But if people are going to now come and say we need a gun control, I don't know what gun control could have helped this. And maybe we roll into that.
They're saying he bought it legally.
Right. So he bought the gun legally. He bought the gun more than a week or two ago. So even a couple days wouldn't have affected it. That's stuff that I don't see why it would have affected. So, and we can talk about that later.
So what do you think is a firearms instructor, and kind of, you've taught some of these scenarios and you've been through them yourself, and I think Alex and I both have been through active shooter scenarios at WAFT and Extreme Krav Maga over at Steve Stolze's, hanging out with him, doing his active shooter stuff. What do you think that the best course of action would have been?
So one of the things that I am really astonished by is there's not another firearm in this place until the cops show up.
Yeah.
And I believe they said that, like, the response time, it was over an hour.
Yeah.
Now, was it an hour until the first car got there, squad car got there? Doubtful. I'm sure probably 15, 20 minutes. In the video we watched first, you can hear sirens as he gets to the corner of the building. At that point, again, bodies are on the floor. Bodies are on the ground. The only person that could have stopped that is somebody with a gun, is a good guy with a gun. Back in the Vegas shooting, I made a video that said, hey, it doesn't matter what gun you have on you. None of it's going to matter because that situation couldn't have been affected by a gun.
No.
This situation 100% could have. Had any one of those individuals had the ability to return fire, had any one of these individuals had the ability to just do something to disrupt this person's action, the body count, it might not have been 0, but it would have been less. And
could have stopped it at 2 or 3.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure about Colorado's laws, but I'm pretty sure they have concealed carry, in some way, shape, or form.
I know they have bears in Colorado on the hiking trails, so they have Colorado.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's not California.
Yeah, they have bears and shit on the hiking trail, so I know they got fucking pistols.
Yeah.
I know dudes carry pistols while they go hiking, so.
I mean, again, here's where we're at, where 99.9% of these situations, Vegas being the 0.0%, where someone with a gun could have stopped it. That's all it takes is when it comes down to it.
Or anybody could have stopped it because they have a 10-round fucking magazine ban and he's got to reload.
Well, 10-round, 30-round, you eventually have to reload, period, at some point in time.
It's a grocery store. I mean, it's not like there's aisles.
Yeah.
True.
Bum rush them.
But when it comes down to it, I mean, you have something on you. You are responsible for your own protection. The cops are not there to protect you. The cops are there to solve the crime and arrest someone if they live.
And identify your body.
Yeah. That's it. They're not there to stop it or to save you. That takes them forever to get together a SWAT team, have them come in. A lot of times these towns don't have a dedicated SWAT team. They're other officers, so they have to call them in. There is a response time. A lot can go wrong in an hour.
And one of the things maybe we'll talk about if we do a part 2 is we'll talk about what some of those protocols have been and what they've turned into, because I think that has a bearing here. But the biggest thing in my mind is that just some of those things they add to the whole. Again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a tinfoil hat guy. But some of those things that in a concealed carry state, that hunting is pretty prevalent, outdoor life is prevalent. No one had a firearm. None. Yeah. Nobody had one. That seems odd to me. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I could go to a Walmart or a Schnucks, a Deerbergs, or a Kroger or something like that in the Midwest. I don't think I could do that and not run into someone that I can see it through their damn shirt or
that's open carry.
Yeah, especially after 2020.
We can go to a Walmart in Missouri and not see somebody open carry.
Right. I mean, especially after we've had 13 months of record gun sales.
Yeah. All these new firearms owners, apparently none of them are in Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got 5 minutes left, so we're just gonna wrap it up here. There's probably gonna be a part 2.
Yeah, I say let's just knock that out tomorrow because there is still so much to go.
And there's really not enough information right now. There's not enough confirmed fucking information for anybody to say really anything concrete other than 10 people may have lost their lives. And I say may, as cold as that is because we don't know how many people died because the news lies to us.
Yeah.
They lied to us on the storm into the Capitol. They're probably going to lie to us on this too. So probably 10 people either got injured or died, and that was horrible. But we do know that the only thing that could have stopped this quicker would have been a good guy with a gun. And that's hands down the only way that this could have been stopped quicker.
Yep.
And I think we should probably just leave it on that bombshell. Catch us for probably part 2 of this, where we're going to have to go into the facts, find out exactly what kind of gun this guy had, you know, who was he, what did he do, and that's about it. Thanks, shitheads. This is Shots Fired. Out. Deuces.
No.